Boom, we're live.
Boom, we're live.
We're kind of getting situated right here, pulling up some last minute stats. We're gonna be really starting in a couple of minutes. So Jackson's 19-7.
Couple minutes? What do you mean? We're starting now.
I figured we would wait until we got a couple people. No? All right, fuck it. MMA Complete, episode 17.
I don't give a shit.
Maybe, something like that.
I don't give a shit. Let's go. Let's go.
Zach with Austin and Dylan. Appreciate you guys.
I just want to talk about one thing. Before we get into UFC, Lamar Jackson is not having a great year.
No, he's not.
Not having a great year. No.
The Ravens are a little above mediocre.
Yeah.
The Browns are in second place, first of all. I mean, Lamar Jackson's a great talent, but he's in no way having a great year.
Yeah. I think Baker Mayfield's having a better year than Lamar Jackson.
Probably is, yeah.
I think he is.
I mean, once you get tape on him, he's going to,
Yeah. And if
you make him throw the ball, he's not going to.
He doesn't have Odell. But,
he had Odell for the first couple of weeks.
That's what I mean.
And plus, they've still been, I think they're on a 3-game winning streak.
Where they are. So,
right.
I think Baker Mayfield's doing better than Lamar Jackson.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. If you missed it, right before us, we got Title Town Throwdown coming to you live every Thursday at 7 p.m., hosted by Nick LeBlanc. Matt Joles was on it, so definitely go check that out.
Check them out.
They talk mostly football, and that's not our complete area of expertise. But
no.
They have great content. They do great podcasts every week, so go check them out.
Yeah,
but
I definitely love to debate that with them.
We already did. You remember that, right?
I'd love to do another one.
We already had a Patriots debate.
I know. No, not even a Patriots debate, an NFL debate.
Right.
I'd love that. I'd love to do that.
We did have a Patriots debate, though.
Yeah. We did. And Patriots are going to have a better record than the Colts. I'm telling you that right now.
Okay. You say so.
I'm telling you that right now. Super Bowl.
So
Super Bowl.
The Patriots would have to win out, and the Colts would have to lose out.
Oh, can you see the Maroney? Yeah,
you can.
Yeah, Maroney.
All right, so we're coming to you live, December 10th. December 10th, we just got over the Hermanson versus Vettori fight night. We're now gearing up for UFC 256.
Kid Cudi album tonight, too.
256. Ooh, good shout. Kid Cudi album tonight. Man on the Moon 3 coming out. Definitely got to check that out.
Man on the Moon 3, midnight. Let's get it. Jack Harlow also dropped that.
And we got, Jack Harlow dropped
tonight.
Big Sean.
No, he's dropping
an album tonight.
He's
dropped
dropping the rest of the music tonight.
So we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot that happened last week, or not a lot, but we have some significant last week. We got a lot coming up this weekend, and then in the next 2-3 months, we have a crazy amount of fights to announce. So let's start from last weekend. Jack Hermanson got upset greatly by Marvin Vettori.
Big upset.
Marvin Vettori was the second replacement fighter on that card. Came in on like a week notice, and he beat a top 5 middleweight in the UFC. So he's automatically implemented his name into the top 5, if not like the top 7.
He was number 12.
He was 13, I think.
Yeah.
And then he beat number 4 Hermanson. And I'm pretty sure above him, although I'm not, because above Hermanson, you have Adesanya, who's obviously the champ. You got Paulo Costa. And it was Yoel Romero.
I think that guy should fight Paulo Costa.
Well, Yoel Romero left. Robert Whittaker's up there. Darren Till. I don't know if he was. I don't think he was above Hermanson. I think for challengers, it was Whittaker, Costa, Romero, Hermanson.
Yeah.
So that means that Hermanson was really 3. So Vettori could be like top 4.
Yeah.
I think you'd probably put Darren Till above Vettori, and Hermanson right below Vettori. Hermanson right below Vettori. So that middleweight division got shook up. Marvin Vettori is going to be a big name in that. I think he's already called out Paulo Costa, which I think that's a great fight to happen.
I would love that. That's what I was just saying. I would love for him to fight Paulo Costa, especially. Well, he just lost Adesanya, but that would be a good competition for him. It
would be a great competition. And if you look at, obviously Paulo Costa's buffed out way more than Hermanson. But Hermanson came into that fight jacked. They were both phenomenal shape. And so Vettori's proven that he can handle himself with a big fucking guy. So I think he has a great chance against Paulo Costa.
He went in with a full camp, dude. So
Jack Hermanson did.
Yeah. Right. So the other guy had 6 days notice.
Right. So I think Marvin Vettori is going to be a huge name for 2021 in that middleweight division. I would like to see him gear up with Paulo Costa, Robert Whittaker, anybody in there, because we know Adesanya is not.
Well, Whittaker's the next.
Whittaker is the next, but who knows if Adesanya is going to go back to middleweight? If he beats Blachowicz, he might stay light heavyweight. No. You don't think so?
There's no competition in light heavyweight right now.
If he can prove himself against Blachowicz.
But it's new competition to Adesanya. Adesanya's beaten everybody in the top 5 in the middleweight division. So if he goes to light heavyweight, like he could then beat that top 5.
Yeah.
And then
beat who?
Take on John Jones.
Beat who in light heavyweight?
Well, Glover Teixeira is the number 1 contender in light heavyweight. And then you got...
Who's pissed right now?
Dominic Reyes, Thiago Santos. You got Jan Blachowicz, who's going to fight. You have Anthony Smith. You have Alexander Rakic.
Mm-hmm.
These are all people who fucking Blachowicz has gone through.
No, it's not. Blachowicz has beaten 1 or 2 of them.
Santos.
He beat Santos. No. He beat Reyes. He didn't beat. I don't think he beat Santos.
Yes,
Did he? That was like a couple years ago. I might have to call you out on that. I don't think he did. But I bet you're right. I bet you're right though, because I remember Santos losing in one of his first light heavyweight fights.
How about Teixeira?
Blachowicz has.
We can't.
Sure.
We can't do it. So far away.
But like the light heavyweight division,
it
just poses a new challenge for Adesanya. You know what I mean?
100%.
Adesanya is what 12-0 in the UFC now.
There's no challenge.
I think he should run it back with Whitaker. But if I'm Adesanya, I don't see any reason I would need to. If I'm Adesanya, I beat Whitaker.
This is where Dana White gets into his problems.
Yoel Romero went 10 rounds with that guy. I finished him in 2.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to go back to that guy.
Yeah.
Although I think he should.
This is where Dana White runs into his problems, where he would have to pay Adesanya.
Right. And because of that reason, Dana White is also looking for the big fights.
Yeah.
So you got Blachowicz.
Well,
I would say
you got Conor fighting Poirier.
I would say there's only a couple names in light heavyweight that's a big fight, and that's Glover, Dominic Reyes, and Thiago Santos. That's it.
I wouldn't even call Glover a big sell, dude.
I don't know if it's a big sell, but I think that Dana White could work that around being the toughest challenger Adesanya's ever fought.
So like, who does Glover Teixeira?
Because Glover Teixeira would take him down.
Yeah.
The whole fucking fight.
Who?
Glover Teixeira would take down Adesanya. Like we just saw him do to Santos.
I don't know.
I think that it would be a great fight because I think that Adesanya would get exposed a little bit. I think Adesanya would win.
Adesanya just moved up in the belt too in jiu-jitsu.
Oh yeah.
Emotional video of it on Twitter. I saw it today. It was like a day ago or something.
Did you see him? He met Jake Paul.
Yeah.
You see that shit? Cool. Jake Paul was like fucking either pilled out of his mind or stoned out of his mind. He was talking to like, yo, you're the last style bender. I'm the second to last style bender. And then they had the most awkward laugh, and then they left. It's hilarious.
Jake Paul knocked the shit out of Nate Robinson.
Oh my god! Did you see that?
Oh my god!
I saw like a lot of the fight.
I felt bad. Like Nate Robinson was not prepared for that at all.
It looked like he was in great shape.
He was in great shape, but he didn't know how to box. I don't know. He probably beat him in a foot race. But like
Nate Robinson, that guy that beats all his friends in boxing. But when it comes to a real boxer,
Nate kept trying to like run at him. He was literally like running, like go like this. You're not going to generate power.
I don't think I would say Jake Paul is a real boxer.
He's not, but he has experience. That was his 4th fight.
Okay.
It was Nate Robinson's first. You know what I mean? That has experience factor.
4th professional fight.
It's not. I don't know if I would call it professional. It's athletic commission.
With how many amateur boxing?
I mean, you could say all of them are amateur boxing. All right, then let's talk about Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather. Dude, did you see that fight? Was it February 20th? Of course it's a money fight. Of course it's a... Dude, what big fights that are going on nowadays aren't money fights?
What fight could boxing do?
That's it. That's all. Dana White even said
That's the state of boxing right now. They literally have to pull out YouTubers.
Listen, Logan Paul is fighting Floyd Mayweather. Logan Paul, as a professional boxer, is 0-1-1.
Yeah.
And he's fighting the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
That's what boxing is reduced to, unfortunately. Because besides the heavyweight division, which there's actually some names. There is actually names. You don't have the Pernell Whitakers. You don't have the fucking Manny Pacquiaos anymore.
No.
You know what I mean? Although McGregor wants to box Pacquiao again.
You don't even have Floyd Mayweather, dude. Look at who he's fighting. You don't even have a Floyd Mayweather. He's an old man.
And I mean,
he's old man. He's dust.
How many rounds? How many rounds do you give Logan?
He didn't even fight.
What if he fucked? He's not going.
He didn't even fight He could have fought Pacquiao 5 years previous to when he fought him, when they were both in their prime. He fucking waited, dude, because he knew he didn't have a shot. The guy's...
Well, Pacquiao was old, bro.
That's what I mean. He waited too long. That fight was way overdue.
Right.
Way overdue.
He's smart. Give him to him.
Oh, he's a smart businessman. I'll give him that, but...
And
don't
he's
know how
going
to
rake in cash. He's
also
rake in cash.
beat Canelo. And Canelo's twice. And Canelo's young.
Absolutely.
Young.
He did, yeah.
But he has...
Top of the line.
Listen, everybody knows exactly what Floyd's going to do in every fight.
Yeah,
Floyd's going to dance around for the first 2. He's going to throw a couple jabs, 3 through 4. And then he's going to let you throw more jabs, 5 and 6. And then rounds 7 through 12, you're too gassed. And then he starts, and he just shits on people.
Yeah.
Go back and watch the last 15 fights. It's exactly what he does. He hasn't had a first-round knockout since he was like 24 years old. Or unless he fought someone who was not even close to his competitive level, which I think he might have now that I think of. Like
Logan Paul.
Well, the interesting thing of
I
that
don't think he has the power anymore, dude.
I'm sure Floyd's going to win. And by the way, this fight has been announced as an exhibition, which is what Tyson Jones was, which makes me weary of getting too excited for this. I know. That's exactly how I'm feeling, how you're looking at me right now. Yeah. It's announced as an exhibition.
Super exhibition.
So the thing about that is...
That's what Floyd posted. Super exhibition.
If it is an exhibition fight, Jones and Tyson just went 8 rounds in their exhibition fight. Most boxing matches are 12 to 15. Yeah. If it's an 8-round boxing exhibition between Floyd and Logan, if Logan can handle himself for 6 rounds, keep his cardio, which he might be able to, 6 rounds, like, you could do it if you get in good shape, and then just not get knocked out in 2 rounds, right? He has a shot. Dude has, like, 8-inch reach advantage over Floyd Mayweather. He's fucking 6'3", and Floyd's, like, 5'7", 5'8".
Well, what I've been saying...
He's not going to win.
I would bet the D.
I have no idea, and that would be my biggest question. Because I'm guessing Logan Paul's...
Fucking 30-pound difference?
Right. Because Floyd fights at 145. And I'm pretty sure Logan's at, like, 185.
No, yeah, it is. It's actually one... If I want to be wrong. It's...
Yeah, no, I don't either.
It's 143, 153, or 163 is what Floyd weighs. And I'm more leaning towards higher.
I'm pretty sure it's 43. Dude's skinny. Dude's really skinny.
Skinny, yeah. And that's what Logan Paul said in one of his videos. He said, "You're the champ of the small division."
Pacquiao dropped weight to fight Floyd. You know what I mean?
Dude, that's a hard cut.
He is. You know who Floyd Mayweather is? He's Demetrius Johnson.
Yeah.
No. No. That's a bad.
Mayweather's way better.
Way better.
Of course he is, but Demetrius Johnson was undefeated for like 6 years.
Say Floyd Mayweather is the John Jones because John Jones, not a lot of people.
Not a lot of people like him. Flaunt it the way Mayweather.
I was going for more physical comparison, and you're going for more of like a legacy
physical. Oh yeah, well, physical. Well, you got to do physical and just as good as him. I would go.
And that's Demetrius Johnson. But Demetrius Johnson has a better legacy than Cejudo, I would argue.
Yeah, big downfall, bro. Yeah.
Not really. He's only lost 2 fights in the UFC, and then he went to 1, and he still hasn't lost.
I'm pretty sure he lost that fight. Demetrius Johnson. I'm pretty sure he doesn't. Does he fight still?
I think so.
He's not a champ.
I think so.
He's not a champ.
No. I remember he got traded to 1 for Ben Askren, and then that didn't fucking work out for UFC. Remember that much?
What do you mean? Ben Askren just said he came out a couple weeks ago. He said he wants to fight.
That's all good and dandy, but to lose possibly the best flyweight of all time for a guy who got barely beat Robbie Lawler by Herb Dean's doing and then got knocked out in 5 seconds. He's a good shit talker. I'll give it to him. He got fucking sales for that fight.
Sean O'Malley versus Ben Askren?
Different weight classes. Ben Askren's 170, O'Malley's 135.
Really?
145. He's bantamweight.
135?
He's 140. He's 145.
Skinny.
He's 145.
He's skinny, huh? Damn, 135?
145. He's like 6'1".
He can move up, dude. He can go to 155?
He could, but for a guy like him who's just finding his career, he's 24.
No, that's what I mean.
Like, I think he would stay in bit.
You can move up at 27.
Fuck it. Let's just put Dillashaw with O'Malley.
Dillashaw, Cody Garbrandt.
I would love to see the trilogy. I would love to see the Garbrandt-Dillashaw trilogy.
Cody Garbrandt has Corona.
Except for the fact that I think Dillashaw would probably win again, and I don't want to see Dillashaw beat Garbrandt.
I don't want to see Dillashaw win. I want to see
Dillashaw
face.
get fucked up.
I want his face mangled couple teeth on the ground, and maybe a tap or a broken arm. Maybe.
We're going to take a quick break for station identification. You're watching MMA Complete. Zak Drapeau, Garvey and Dylan Furtado, being brought to you by SFBNRI. Check out all SFBNRI socials, SFBNRI on Snapchat, Instagram, Periscope, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, all that. Let's play a quick little ad. Be right back.
And boom.
And boom, we're live again. Or we've still been live.
We've always been live.
All right, so UFC 256. UFC 256 right around the corner. The final pay-per-view of this godforsaken year, 2020. UFC 256 was supposed to be headlined by two different fights, but now is headlined for Deiveson Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno, the flyweight championship, in which both fighters are having a 21-day turnaround, just winning in the last pay-per-view, UFC 255. I did look this up because I talked about it last week. Deiveson Figueiredo is the first person in UFC history to headline two pay-per-views in a row, at least in the modern era.
Really?
Since like UFC 60 or something like that.
Now, is this
first person ever? That's kind of crazy.
Is this a one-belt pay-per-view? Is there a two-belt pay-per-view?
It was supposed to be a three-belt pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It's only one now. Yeah.
Because Burns.
Nope.
Burns versus.
Well, that was supposed to be 12. That was supposed to be.
I'm pretty sure it was
21.
I think it was 12-12. I remember. I remember looking at it on the sportsbook app.
Okay, well, at the same time, the Jan Sterling fight wasn't scheduled until after Burns gave up.
Okay.
So there have been talks of 4 championship fights that were supposed to happen this card, but we're only going with 1.
Isn't Sterling coming off a loss?
Oh, Dana White's only going with 1.
Sterling just beat either Moraes or Sandhagen. I believe it was Sandhagen.
Sandhagen beating Moraes.
Right. So, I mean, maybe he gets next crack. I think that, first of all, so the fight that was supposed to headline this pay-per-view was supposed to be Petr Yan defending his bantamweight title belt against Aljamain Sterling. So, Petr Yan is on a big winning streak, but he beat Jose Aldo for the title, which,
he's falling off, dude. I don't even see him winning this fight that he's fighting right now. You have him winning, by.
So, Petr Yan has been tested, but he hasn't been tested against great bantamweights.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he beat Lineker. And he beat Aldo. He beat Faber. Yeah, he knocked the fuck out of Faber. But, like, Faber's 39. Right, exactly. Aljamain Sterling is 28 and has one of the most unorthodox styles in the UFC and is hungry for a title. And I think that he's filthy on the ground. And he's, like, 4 inches taller, not including his fucking throw. Because Petr Yan's just a smaller guy.
What is old in the UFC?
I would say the old threshold 30
because there's a lot of
35
older people fighting now. Like you see a lot more people fighting in their 40s. Well, Yoel Romero just got cut. He was 44, and he just got signed.
But there's a big asterisk next to Yoel Romero.
I know he got signed 7 years. 7 years in the UFC.
But I mean, but his Cuban birth certificate isn't exactly pristine. You know what I mean? Like he could be 28, or he could be 50. We don't know. It's legit.
Who?
Yoel Romero. You ever heard Joey Diaz go off about Yoel Romero? Yeah, I swear to God. He's like, those Cuban motherfuckers come up from Florida. Yeah.
I believe Joey Diaz.
Right. I'd trust Joey Diaz with my life. His tweets are awesome. It's Tuesday, motherfuckers. Go get your cock sucked. Have a great day. Fucking love it.
Yo, he had a tweet that I liked. It was like, it's Monday, motherfuckers. Dryo pride that guy like Khabib and fucking let's do this. I was like, okay.
Dryo pride.
Yeah, Dryo pride.
Pile drive?
Pile drive, yeah.
So,
many beers.
So like we said, originally it was supposed to be Jan versus Sterling.
Too many.
Also, Amanda Nunes was set to defend her women's bantamweight crown, or tiara, if you will, against Felicia Spencer. I think it was Felicia Spencer, although she may have just beaten her.
Felicia Spencer?
Yeah.
Who?
Exactly.
Amanda Nunes needs to fight Henry Cejudo. That needs to happen.
What about
that needs to happen.
Jermaine Duranami?
Yeah.
She might.
Isn't she coming off a win?
Yes, she just beat someone. Oh, who did she beat? Was it Cynthia Calvillo? It might be Cynthia Calvillo, but she, I think, is not in featherweight. I think
she's lighter. She's whatever.
So strawweight.
She was the first ever strawweight. Right?
Flyweight. She's flyweight.
You sure?
Jermaine Durrani means flyweight because strawweight's Wiley Zhang.
Oh yeah.
What did I just say? Flyweight Shevchenko, and then featherweight bantamweight's Nunes. So she might be featherweight, but I think she's flyweight. Shevchenko. Jennifer Maia. Did you by any chance? Oh yeah, you were here. Did you stay up for that fight in the last pay-per-view? Shevchenko.
No,
I left for the last.
So Shevchenko lost round 2 in that fight.
Oh, okay.
Against Jennifer Maia, and it was actually like a really great round for Jennifer Maia. I know I'm getting off topic. We're gonna get back to UFC 56 in a second. Shevchenko got taken down and controlled for 4.5 minutes, and it was like the first round she lost in like 6 years, something like that. And then continued that to take down Jennifer Maia like 6 times, 6 for 6. Okay, I looked this up like after the fight. I don't know if I talked about it. She went like 7 for 7 or 7 for 8 in takedowns in that fight. In her career, besides that fight, she's like 2 for 3 in takedowns.
She saw something on film.
Well, I think that might be part of it, but I also think that Jennifer Maia took her down in the second round. And she got fucked up. And then she was like, oh, okay, now I'm going to take you down. Because I think she only got 1 takedown in the first round. And then she got like 6 more in the last 3.
Yeah.
That's pretty badass. I mean, not that we have to prove anything about Valentina Shevchenko. She's the second greatest women fighter ever, probably.
Yeah, and that's literally the only fight the women could sell is Shevchenko. Like, there's really no other fight.
You can't sell that.
I know, because Nunes beat her twice. I know. But Nunes, me thinking, because I don't really know a lot of women's fighters, and now I'm guessing a lot of people that watch UFC don't know a lot of women's fighters because they don't watch.
They're definitely undervalued.
Undervalued, underappreciated, but
underpromoted,
underpaid.
Underpaid.
Everything.
We were just talking about that. Yeah.
Everything. But there's nothing interesting about it,
especially when you have these divisions like that. There are clear champions,
and it is proven just 2 seconds ago when you're like, oh, who's Nunes fighting? I already fought.
I think it was supposed to be Felicia Spencer.
That's what I mean.
Right.
Who? And that's the problem.
I mean, that shows in divisions already. You have fucking Adesanya, one of the hottest fighters in the world right now, and we're already like, yeah, the middleweight's not competitive. Like, whatever, because we know Adesanya's going to win. Now, put that in a division where the females are not even really promoted like that, and you're like, what the fuck do I care?
I know. Well, it's
a travesty. That really is, because there's a lot of great women fighters. We watched a couple. There was a couple women fighters in UFC 55. They had some good fights.
Yeah. Why not? We said too? We said when Conor McGregor left and went to go fight Floyd, that fucking division was. Everyone said that division was shit.
Yeah, lightweight.
Now look at that. Now look at 2-3 years. Not even a year and a half later, that division was stacked.
And that's why I think
that we're still talking about that division.
And that's why I think 2021 is the year of light heavyweight.
I think 2021.
John Jones is gone. John Jones has ruled that fucking division for 11 years.
Guess what the worst division is right now?
Hold on. Male.
I would say
division on paper?
I would say light heavyweight. Well, you got the...
I think you might be right. I think it might be light heavyweight. I would probably agree with that.
I'd say light heavyweight. Well, middleweight, there's still some decent.
Middleweight, I would say there's a lot of decent fighters.
That's what I mean.
Not to mention you have Kamaev.
I would go...
in the fucking middleweight rankings.
I would go flyweight, because that's not even... I would go light heavyweight,
flyweight maybe, but the fact that they've gotten so much great fights lately, they're definitely pushing their way up.
See, I would go
flyweight was just 2 years ago. They almost disbanded it.
That's what I mean.
Right. I would go heavyweights. A lot of the heavyweight guys are old.
Yeah. Yeah, but that top 5 is strong. The bottom 15 sucks, but the top 5 is pretty strong.
The other problem is,
especially if John Jones goes. If John Jones goes to heavyweight, then it's must-see TV.
Where do you see him?
John Jones.
Yeah.
Heavyweight. He's heavyweight now.
He's going in the rankings. Where do you see him?
Top 3. So Miocic is champ.
Top 5, maybe.
Miocic is champ. The number one contender.
Do you see Cormier up there? Wait, is he?
No, Cormier's retired. Ngannou's 1. Blades is 2. I would put Jones at 3. I might even put him at 2.
Who's at 5?
Overeem.
Wait, did you say 4? Who's Jones?
So right now, without Jones, it's just contenders. Ngannou, Blades, Lewis.
Not putting John
Volkov
Jones above Lewis.
You're not putting John Jones above Derek Lewis. You're not putting Lewis above John Jones. Got it.
I'm not putting Volkov.
I'm putting over and not putting over.
Right. So it's Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades or John Jones. Curtis Blades deserves it because he's on a win streak. But the fact that he's lost twice to Ngannou, and the fact that he's just not a big name, I think Jones goes second. And I could argue that he should be number one contender.
I'm with him on this. I think you should be top 3. My top 3 is him. I want to see him fight Ngannou. But
I think if it was
Ngannou,
dude, that's the fight. That's the fight. I would rather watch that fight than
a big money
Jones
fight.
Miocic. I'd rather watch it than Khabib GSP, Adesanya Jones, just for the sheer fact that we get to see 240 John Jones taking on the biggest hitter, this motherfucking Francis Ngannou.
And he just picks him apart.
And he just ragdolls him.
What he's gonna do?
I take back Khabib GSP. That I might want to see a little bit more, but
I want to see Adesanya.
But I'm not both fights. John Jones is going to win. He's going to beat Adesanya. He's going to beat Ngannou. But I think the spectacle, not the build up.
Does he beat Adesanya?
Yeah, he does. Well, if that fight happens, that's a 205.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jones was the heavy favorite, and I really wouldn't just because of the weight difference. 100%, the weight difference is going to be a major factor, and I would definitely put money on Adesanya, just because numbers wise.
Right, I probably would too, just in case. But at the end of the day, I would put most of my money on John Jones.
I would put the deed on John Jones winning that fight, but I would never count out a question mark kick or
right. But you can't question mark kick. You can't question mark kick a guy when you're on your back.
I know.
I would put the deed on John Jones submitting Adesanya.
Yeah, I would too, 100%.
Dude, John Jones. I mean,
I think he would put him in a Kimura in round 2.
Adesanya can kick. He can also punch. He's not.
He's a kickboxer.
He's one of the best strikers in the MMA.
If they stand for 5 rounds, I think Adesanya. Yeah, I think he is the best striker.
He's one of the best.
Besides
Conor McGregor,
it's Adesanya, Conor, and Ngannou. I think Ngannou's up there because he can light anybody up with one punch. Dude, he can knock anybody out with one punch. Anybody.
No.
Well, yeah.
Stipe's the toughest. I think that gets overvalued as far as boxing skills. I don't think he's putting a lot of people to sleep, at least in the top 5.
He gives a lot of eye pokes.
Yeah, he does. He doesn't even give that much. Cormier gave more. He just happened to get the right one. You know what I mean?
He put his old pinky in there.
And the ref was like, no, he punched you.
Man. Yeah, that's what you get for freaking...
Right, yeah,
that's what you get for...
Were we watching that? We were just
5 times.
Shut up.
Yeah, we were. And we saw him in the after-fight interview, and he's like, look at my fucking eye. And it was down here.
See, I can't see anything. Anything. I'm pretty sure his whole thing was torn.
Right.
Yeah. Which is...
Yeah, no, he had a torn cornea.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think Jones beats Stipe, gets the title, and then...
Well, the only problem with that is there's discussions, a lot of discussions, that Ngannou Miocic 2 is already on its way. That fight's supposed to be scheduled for March.
I think that fight's going to happen. Ngannou wins.
No.
Ngannou wins. I think...
Don't say Ngannou.
Whatever his name is, man. Ngannou.
When he first came to the UFC, they called him Gano. Fun fact.
Gano.
Back when he had braids.
Gano's going to beat Stipe. Stipe's done. You don't want to fight anymore. You could retire right now and be fine.
Dude, I think Stipe does the exact same thing he did to Francis in their first fight. I think he takes him to the ground for all 5 rounds, and it's a unanimous decision. I was at that fight, and it was this is over, and it's only 10 seconds.
It does kind of it is kind of weird that Ngannou doesn't just go out there and just lay.
That's weird that you say
that.
That's
what he did against Rosenstrike. That's what he did against Rosenstrike. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
10 seconds. He was literally like this. Yeah. Fucking caught him with one.
He should do that every time.
Right, but if he does that against Miocic, he might hit one, but he's getting taken down 100% of the time. He's Fucking Miocic sees him doing this. He's going for one leg, and he's not letting go until he's on the ground. That's what I do.
One thing that worries me is that I thought Stipe was going to just literally run through DC, and DC made that fight look closer than it should have been.
Well, DC at heavyweight is another fucking monster. You know, DC at light heavyweight was one of the best in the world. At heavyweight, he was top 5 in the world.
Yeah.
Which just goes to show how great John Jones is.
Yeah, I really... We have to see. And it's going to happen.
We're definitely going to have to see. 2021, as good as 2020 is, 2021 has the potential to be better if they keep with the momentum.
John Jones gets top 3 fight for his fight, though. 100%. 100%.
If he has to fight someone before he fights Miocic, it's Blades. He's going to fight Blades. And I think that is the toughest fight in the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
Because Blades is the best wrestler in the heavyweight division.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think John Jones gets taken down. And I think he stops the fight by a knockout.
Yeah.
But here's another thing that's interesting to me, okay?
Okay.
John Jones goes to heavyweight. John Jones scheduled to fight Blades, number 1 contender. Is that a 5-round fight?
Yeah.
Or now let me ask you this. You say it's a 5-round fight. I would agree with you because it should be. But if it's a 5-round fight, that means it's the main event. So either you put on a pay-per-view just for the Jones.
I don't think it goes 5 rounds.
If it's not a title fight or a main event, it's a 3-round fight. They don't do 5-round fights for non-title or main event fights. That's the predicament I'm in here. So like either you put him in a main event of a pay-per-view that's just around him, that probably will sell because it's John Jones, but no title, you're like, eh. Like you could throw it in the co-main event. That might not work totally well. And you're not going to put John Jones at the main event of a fucking fight night. You're not going to, no. That wouldn't work at all.
No. What you could do is you could schedule a fight, like Dana White could do some sly shit, schedule a fight that he knows is not going to happen. Boom, bumps the co-main to the main event. You could do that.
See, that wouldn't drum enough in the beginning. It
right.
Needs to be,
no,
right.
But when it gets announced.
But if it gets announced as a co-main event fight, that fight instantly loses like a million viewers when it originally comes. At least.
Who's going to watch the main event? That's what I want to know.
What would the main event?
If the co-main event's John Jones, who's going to stick around and watch the main event?
How about Adesanya, Blachowicz, and John Jones?
Oh,
co-main.
Listen, if Adesanya Blachowicz, if that ever got put a main event to a John Jones co-main event, I would stop watching UFC.
Why?
Adesanya Blachowicz, the main event with John Jones in the co-main event.
It creates such a good storyline, and that fuels John Jones.
Title belt.
And then we're getting back to the dilemma of that means John Jones is fighting a 3-round fight. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to be hard to work around. That's why I think Jones should just get a title shot.
It's still probably will. Wouldn't it still be 5?
No. Co-main events. It's a main event or a title fight gets 5 fights. 5 rounds.
John Jones did come out.
What they could do, and this would delegitimize a championship belt, but it might be worth it, is they could put like an Adesanya Blachowicz as a co-main event, and then just put Jones Blades as the main event for a non-title fight, but go 5 rounds. That would not fly. That would not fly with Adesanya. Adesanya would hate that. But the point I'm trying to make here is I don't think John Jones would agree to a fight if it's not 5 rounds. I do not think he would. He has not fought a 3-round fight in like 14 years.
And why would Dana White put 2 fights on the same card that he knows can be both main events on a separate night?
Well, to make a super pay-per-view. I mean, we've seen it before. We almost saw it.
It almost happened this weekend.
Right, exactly.
But it's different when it's 2 guys that are going to fight each other, I feel like.
It's different when it's 2 different divisions.
But wouldn't it be awesome?
And 2 guys that are going to fight each other.
Yeah, John Jones did come out and said the only fight that interests him, legacy-wise, he said he doesn't give a fuck about the money. It's Stipe. So he's gonna get the title shot.
I think he is too, and I think he deserves it. I think he deserves it before he got it.
First time in history. Oh no, before he got it.
Yeah, I guess if Adesanya is getting his title fight against Blachowicz, then yeah.
And who deserves? And John Jones deserves a title shot more than Adesanya does to get a double title.
Yes, Glover Teixeira deserves it more than Adesanya.
Glover Teixeira deserves a title shot.
More than Adesanya.
I hate the fact. Listen, Jan Blachowicz does not sell paper. He does not sell tickets.
Family man.
He won the light heavyweight championship because John Jones left the division. That's why he has the title.
That's the saddest way to get it.
That's exactly why he has it.
I know.
He beat Dominic Reyes 2 rounds. fair to him, he's probably the best at 205 right now. Maybe. He's also 38 years old.
Stomach Grace also won 5 rounds with Jones, too. So that, like, adds some sort of legacy to him.
Yeah. But, like, we should be staying in our own divisions here. John Jones can skip. He can go to any division he wants. He can go to any division he wants because he has the fucking right. Adesanya's 12-0 in the UFC. And he's like 4 or 5-0 in title fights.
12-0 in the UFC?
Yeah, for sure. He's like 5-0 in title fights. All right. John Jones is
MMA.
14-0 in title fights. That's different from 5-0 in title fights. There's levels to this fucking shit.
You've also got punched more. You've gone through
He's also
more. You're worn down more.
Right. Just once.
Once, and it was scientifically
he's
proven, not his fault.
He got DQ'd against Matt Hamill for dropping 12-6 elbows.
No, I'm talking about DC. But yeah.
Oh, no contest. Yeah. He does have a no contest that he actually won. So, I mean.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. Want to say your shit?
Check out SFBNRI. I want to continue where we left off real quick.
This video is sponsored by Budweiser. No. I wish. I fucking wish.
Catching up where we just left off. My thoughts are, in a perfect world, which we all know, like, obviously, Adesanya fights Whitaker.
Yeah.
Blachowicz fights Teixeira. And Miocic fights Ngannou and then Jones. That's in a perfect world. That is based on what the fighters have done based on the rankings of their own divisions.
What if Ngannou loses what if Miocic loses to Ngannou?
Miocic loses to Ngannou.
Then what? Then
it's Ngannou Jones.
I think that defeats the whole purpose of Jones moving up because he's like, he wants to fight Miocic because he's been there for so long.
But it's not.
Dana White's taking a risk.
He is
Miocic,
taking a risk.
For Miocic fighting Ngannou, and he can't take that risk.
I think that Jones, just from a pure fighter standpoint, does respect and want to fight Miocic, but I'm pretty sure it's more about the belt. I think it's more about the belt. About being
definitely the belt, but you're gonna
Miocic
defeat the guy that's been holding the belt for the longest.
Miocic he's only held the belt for 2 years now because DC beat him. But Miocic is the best heavyweight of all time. And he beat DC twice. John Jones beat DC twice. So I definitely understand where that's coming from. And then throw this monkey ball in there. What if Miocic beats Ngannou and retires?
I think he would do that.
I think there's a chance. I really think there's a chance.
No.
Miocic doesn't seem the type to be like, yeah, I'm trying to get $100 million.
John Jones is the biggest payday he'll ever experience.
That's what I mean. Why wouldn't you? Why? It's a big risk for Miocic, too.
It's a huge risk for Miocic.
Why? The biggest. Why? Because if he loses, then John Jones isn't going to fight him. He's going to go for the title, obviously. But if he beats him, it adds to Miocic's legacy because he took that risk.
If he beats Jones or Ngannou?
Ngannou, and then fights Jones.
The
easy way is to just fight Jones right away and just get the payday, retire, get out of Dodge. If you lose, you lose. But you made money.
So here's my thinking, and I'm probably repeating myself. I think Jones should get the title shot before Ngannou.
Yeah,
for 2 reasons. One, he's the best fighter on the planet. He should get a title shot whatever division he goes.
He's pound for pound.
He's pound for pound number one.
Pound for pound history. Yes.
Number two, Ngannou's lost to Miocic.
Who?
You think
Jones
is?
I mean, he's not right now. Khabib is.
Right.
Khabib is.
I totally hear you because the last 3 years. The last 3 years, Khabib's resume is much better than John Jones. Or not 3 years, nearly 2 years.
And
He's got a lot more wins.
Khabib is so.
He's got a lot more amateur. He's got a lot more. He's got a lot more wins
Khabib
in amateur.
Khabib's 29-0, right?
Yeah. What's his amateur record? Do you know his amateur record?
Amateur? We're not talking about amateur record here. What do you think this is?
So what do you think
this is amateur MMA
Jones
Complete?
Is 21-2.
He's 26-0.
28, 1-1.
26-1-0. 26-1-0-1. If you want his actual record. 26-1.
26-1. So what are we talking?
We're talking 29-29. That's what we're talking. 28-29. For professional fights. Khabib does not have. He has one more fight. His last three
then
fights.
we're gonna have to get down to rounds then. If his last talk.
And then Khabib was only lost one round.
Arguably.
Two rounds.
Yeah.
Look at Khabib's competition, man.
I'm glad.
Even close to John Jones.
We've glad had you think Khabib's pound for pound. Long. Because him and Mark were bagging me for choosing.
I really
Khabib.
do.
They were bagging me,
but I hear you, and I respect it because Khabib's number 2, and he has a real if I wanted to, I can make the argument that Khabib is number 1, and I would be saying the same things that you are.
And all three of us can make an argument for GSP being number 1.
But if you, I could, but I wouldn't, and I'll consciously do it because I don't think there's any way
that GSP fight Khabib.
Right. Somebody.
If you want to say that GSP is one of the GOATs, then you Matt Hughes, one of the GOATs,
Hey,
Cain Velasquez is one of the
Carlos Condit.
Mark thought GSP was number 1, and you were giving GSP more love than Khabib before,
because GSP's beat better people, and GSP was champ.
I know, but just because he's beating
Khabib's been champ for 3 years.
Just because he's beating better people doesn't mean he's a better fighter.
In the 8 years.
In the 8 years, 15 times. Really, dude, he beat Matt Hughes for the title, lost to Matt Serra, beat BJ Penn, beat Matt Hughes again, beat Matt Serra, then he beat John Fitch, then he beat BJ again, and then he beat Carlos Condit, and then he beat Robbie Lawler, and then he beat Johnny Hendricks. And he fought once more or twice more, and then he retired, and then he beat Bisping. Those are names. Yeah. Khabib has beaten Gaethje, McGregor, and Poirier, and he beat Iaquinta. Michael Johnson. Get the fuck out of here with Michael Johnson.
He beat Michael Johnson.
Dude, this is Michael Johnson.
This is what John Jones. Everybody in that fucking
John
division.
Jones beat Brandon Vera. Does that add anything to his legacy? No. You know what I mean?
The problem with Khabib is that he makes his wins look so easy. That's what I was getting at. He makes his opponents look like they're fucking
lose rounds.
Amateurs, dude. He just
But
the way he does
compared
to
John Jones' resume, Khabib is fighting amateurs. This is the point.
No, he's not. He's not fighting. Conor McGregor ain't no fucking amateur. Dustin Poirier ain't no fucking amateur.
He's not.
Dude, Khabib's beaten 3 good people. John Jones is at least at 10. You know what I mean?
10 because they were a tough fight for him, or 10
in
because
their prime?
No, 10 because they're great fighters and he beat them.
Did he beat Vitor Belfort because he was at his prime?
Robbie Lawler?
But Vitor is not in the top 5 of his best fighters.
An old BJ Penn too, that second fight. It's just the name BJ Penn.
Yeah, but BJ was still 32. You had John Jones beat Rashad Evans,
such a
Rampage, Lyoto.
Yeah.
Fucking DC twice, Gustafsson twice.
Different era.
Dominic Reyes and Thiago Santos were both in their primes.
Yeah.
Both with asterisks. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Total different era, though, if you look at it. Tons of steroids. John Jones has been in both eras. You know what I mean?
Right. He has. Yeah.
Tons of fucking steroids. Not as much taken to the ground back in the day. More
John Jones.
More beatings to the fucking dome, bro.
Between 23 and 30, John Jones was had the most takedowns in the UFC though.
No, that's what I mean.
Oh, he's fighting people that aren't used to the wrestling kind of shit?
No, that's what I mean. There wasn't a lot of people taken down, but he was doing that. Right. You know what I mean? And now look at what's going on.
And back in the day, it definitely was either you take people down or you stay up. That, there wasn't a whole lot of split. GSP was kind of the fucking bridging that gap guy. He really was.
To do both.
Right.
Exactly.
And to make a style out of it.
Yeah.
And to fight, if I'm fighting a wrestler, I'm standing up. And if I'm fighting a stand-up, I'm taking him down.
Now, this is where I concur with you. I would say John Jones has created that style, not GSP. Why? Why? Because John Jones is still in the league, and you said he's got more title defenses.
Right.
I would say it's John Jones' style, not GSP's.
Well, GSP was
different division.
John Jones.
Different division.
GSP was before John Jones. Yeah. GSP made his debut in the UFC in like 2004.
Yeah.
And Jones was like 2007.
You can even say that's a different era, just because of how quick this sport moves, dude.
Absolutely.
It's
like, let me give you a for instance.
It's a sport that's always developing.
GSP debuted something like UFC 32 in 2004.
Yeah.
Right? Those numbers aren't totally right, but
around there, like 2003, 2005.
So 2004, UFC like 40.
Yeah.
John Jones debuted in UFC in 2007, and it was like UFC 94. You know what I mean? The first couple years, there was like 3 pay-per-views a year. And then John Jones' prime, there was like 7. And then it got to 10. And now we're at like 15.
One every other week. You really could, but it's different times right now.
Way different times. And fighters are fighting way more often nowadays.
Corona was the greatest thing to ever happen.
The greatest thing that happened to the UFC. Well,
yes and no, because we didn't get to see Khabib Tony.
Sure.
That fight could still happen, dude, because Tony...
I don't think it's going to happen.
Tony hates the UFC. Hates the UFC.
Yeah, I bet he does.
I bet he does.
Hates the UFC. Why wouldn't he go fight Khabib at his own promotion? Why wouldn't he?
I think
if Khabib's going to pay him more.
I think, right, if he gets paid more, then, yeah. I don't think Khabib's paying people more. Dude, the UFC has...
I wouldn't be surprised, bro.
The UFC has funds that are... okay,
no,
so
I know.
I know,
it's $1 billion company.
If he pays Tony Ferguson $10 million, he's paying the rest of the card $5,000.
Probably.
You know what I mean? And then it's just a one-fight card, which could happen.
It's no-namers.
I feel like
there has to be a big fight for that promotion.
Here's one thing, though. I feel like Khabib is going to start his own promotion, and he's going to take all of his guys. He's going to take Makhachev. No, he's going to take all those guys, I think. I mean, some of them are going to stay in the UFC to make money. I understand that.
Now, why couldn't they fight? Why couldn't they fight in both?
Because the UFC has a contract, no Khabib clause. UFC, they make people sign.
They could do single contracts.
Yeah, but the UFC wouldn't do that.
See ya.
That's what I'm saying. Like all these guys could go to EFC.
See ya. No, seriously, straight. You know how much he paid for that promotion, by the way?
Who?
Khabib.
It was like $1 million.
$1 million. Yeah. Now, how much do you think that company's worth once he buys that?
A lot.
That's what I mean. Like that shit was
right. Like he could flip it the same day for like $20 million.
Yeah.
I don't even. I think that's $1 billion company.
It's a completely different.
I would seriously think that's $1 billion company.
Not yet, though. Like he has to get something going. He does. He
absolutely. The fucking Russian government.
Right, but if they can't attract people, and more specifically, if they can't attract former UFC stars or prodigies,
Dagestan
then there's not going to have competition.
There will be competition.
Right, but here's the thing about that. If he takes just from Dagestan, that means that almost everybody from his promotion is wrestlers. And MMA fans don't want to watch an MMA show just for wrestling. No, I get that some do.
Yeah.
But like you want to see a wrestling match and a fucking jiu-jitsu match and a stand-up match for 5 rounds.
I want to see
their teeth knocked in.
I want to see Khabib. I want to see a bunch of Khabibs out there fucking putting people in triangles like it's their fucking job and putting them in arm bars if they don't want to or not. And
also, the point very educational.
But the point I'm trying to make here is there is promotions that are just for wrestling. And there are promotions that are just for jiu-jitsu. And that's not what he bought. He bought an MMA promotion.
That's what I mean. That's why I really think we could see...
It'll still sell well, even if they're all wrestling. But to make like $1 billion company, you need UFC. You need to make it fucking everything.
Some kickboxing companies.
Absolutely.
I would like to read how baseball, like how they like started with the single A, double A, triple A, like how that all got involved in like now that's the MLB, because that could happen to the UFC, dude. You know what I mean? He's about to cut 60 fighters. Those 60 fighters need jobs now. You wouldn't take a Khabib contract.
You're right. I think
you know what I mean? Like
I think you would.
I think anybody would. I mean, you got to go to Russia, but I mean,
yeah. But if you're
this is what it is,
right? If you're fighting for a promotion in Russia, first of all, if you sign a contract for this EFC,
how the fuck did we get on this topic?
You don't even. We were talking about Khabib John Jones.
Okay.
If you want to sign a contract with EFC, you don't have to go to Russia until like a week before the fight. You know what I mean? It's not like you're living there.
Yeah. No, I know. It's just like going to Abu Dhabi.
Right.
You're gonna like train there.
You don't have to train there.
Training. Yeah, but you can't just switch up your training fucking a week before the fight.
You mean like get used to like the elevation and shit like that?
No.
Well, you can do the same training methods here and
It's
then fly
different.
over to Russia.
It's still different. It's still vibe.
It's still vibe.
It's still
well, that's why you go.
You're fucking.
Well, that's why you
don't
go
have your family.
You think if you're contracted by an MMA promotion that they don't have equipment that they can lend you?
I'm just saying I wouldn't get there a week before my fucking fight.
How long would you go? You get there a day?
About time.
I think right.
Jet lag.
Jet lag.
I would get
more than a day.
Well, I know what I would do.
Right. A week.
I wouldn't get there. I wouldn't get there a week. I'd get there 2
I'd
3
get thrown
weeks.
off. I'd be like,
yeah, I would too. I would go like 2-3 weeks.
Want to know why I say that?
Russian people are weird. Hey, you're fighting on live TV.
Khabib.
2 weeks, you can take that risk. You know what I mean? You can be by yourself 2 weeks to get ready for the fight. If you're getting paid like this and you're taking it seriously, as most people
You can
do,
literally take that first week just to get used to the time change, and then that first week you can go right back. You're perfect. You're right back on your schedule.
It's
you know
not
what I mean?
only
Like,
time change. If you think about it, you go there, you drink water, and you have a stomach ache, or you eat their food and you shit. Like you got to use to everything.
Russian food.
No, like people,
could be
if you go to
poisoned.
Mexico right now, it's just different cultures. We've established like different nerves in our stomach.
You can eat our American Chinese food all day. You go to China.
China.
Try to eat food, bro.
Yeah,
You want some crickets on a stick?
You don't want to be Joel Romero shitting in the middle of the octagon. You know what I mean?
He did that?
Yeah, remember we were talking about that?
Oh, yeah.
That was one of the fighters that Joel Romero shit himself in the middle of the octagon.
Did he? Not UFC.
No, UFC. It was one of his first fights. So anyway, UFC 256 coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
We've talked about it a little bit. So I don't have the fights in front of me, but the main fights are Davison Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno. I have Figueiredo.
He has Moreno.
I just wanted him to say that.
Moreno, I'm not going to lie, though, looked really good in his last fight.
He did, but Davison Figueiredo. But Davison Figueiredo
is a pretty good contender.
I think he is too, but I think Figueiredo is going to rule that division out. Anyway, Tony Ferguson versus Charles Oliveira being the co-main event. I got Tony.
Oliveira.
And the third fight, we have Jacare Souza versus Kevin Holland. I have... Who do you have?
I have Holland.
You have
I have Holland. No, wait. No, we
Souza's
talked about this.
50.
We talked about this.
We did.
I went into a deep conversation. I think Holland. This guy is actually real competition for him.
Holland beat Joaquin Buckley.
Yeah, like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's a hype train. You got to get off the hype train. Got to get off the hype train.
Holland might not be a hype train.
I'm not on that yet.
I think he's a great fighter.
I think after this fight, I
think there's a chance that Kevin Holland knocks out Jacare in the first round, but I think it's more likely that Jacare gets taken down by Holland and then puts him in a fucking guillotine real quick.
2 rounds.
Real quick.
First 2 rounds, I fear Kevin Holland. After that, I'm not fearing him.
Yeah.
But it's not a main event.
So I got
It's not a main event.
I got Jacare.
It's not a main event. It's only 3 rounds. Oh, dude, that's tough. It's not.
I'm really going to say Jacare.
I gotta go Holland. I gotta go Holland.
Junior Dos Santos versus Cyril Gane. JDX.
Is he also fighting?
I got Santos.
Yeah, that fight's happening this weekend.
I got Santos.
Cyril Gane.
I was looking
Dos Santos.
Dos Santos. Sorry, Dos Santos.
Cub Swanson.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. Shit. One of the first.
I was on the prelim.
I didn't even know that.
That's not so.
Yeah, right. It's all good because we're going to be live streaming for the whole thing. We're going to be live streaming for like 7 hours again. Can't wait. Anybody watching this, come check us out. Saturday.
Anybody that wants to promote us that watches this, come fucking email us or something.
Saturday night starting around 8 o'clock. We're going to start the live stream for UFC 256. We're going to be going all the way to 1 o'clock in the morning. 5 hours.
Gotta do it. I'm on the sleep schedule now. Like,
right.
I'm
going to take a nap that day. I'm going to take a nap that day.
I'm taking a nap before it, probably.
Like 2 to 4 o'clock, 2 to 5
You sound like old fucking men, but we're really 20, 30.
So definitely come check us out. Anywhere you're watching this, you can watch it there. Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, LinkedIn. I don't know.
Snapchat? We don't have a Snapchat.
No, I'm just saying it. I think SFBN has a Snapchat though, so go follow them. And TikTok, and we have a TikTok. Go follow the TikTok.
We have a TikTok?
We do have a TikTok. It's mostly Ron. He does like the takeout reports on there. They're kind of funny.
I want to do.
He like eats a pizza in his kitchen. And he goes like,
"Oh yeah." No,
they're kind of funny. No, they're entertaining.
Yeah.
Go check out Ron Robert on TikTok.
Yeah.
And then real quick, because we're getting to the point where we're almost at an hour. Right?
What we should do is set up an email and a Twitter for this show.
Right, we should. There's a couple more fights I want to get into real quick. First of all, the card next week, it's stacked. Fight night next week.
I'm down to go along. I don't care.
Yeah, I am too. So to open up the main card, we have Cheeto Vera versus Jose Aldo. That opens up the main card.
All right. Should we say who we want?
I got Jose Aldo.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, I know you don't.
Yeah, fuck Aldo. Done. That guy's face is still sleeping from when Conor McGregor was talking about it.
I have to look up this fight because they're escaping me right now. Who is?
What date is that fight?
December 19th.
December 9th. Oh, next week.
Yeah.
Okay. What are we doing for this live stream? We getting food? Can you make it or?
When is it?
Saturday. Yeah. 8 to 1 o'clock. We'll probably start watching the fights around like 6 though. So.
Yeah. I mean, I'll definitely come by later.
Pop in maybe.
Yeah. No, I'll stay till late. But come later.
Oh yeah, totally do that. If you want to come in at like 11 o'clock, so you're actually up for it, that's totally fine. All right,
8 to 1's. It doesn't sound long, but shit's long.
So on the fight night for next week, we got Anthony Pettis versus Alex Morano. We got Marcin Tybura versus Greg Hardy.
Ooh, that's a good fight.
Marlon Moraes versus Rob Font.
Yeah.
We got Jose Aldo versus Cheeto Vera. And we got Wonder Boy Thompson versus Jeff Neal.
This is a fucking great card.
And it was originally supposed to be headlined by Kamaev Edwards. But Edwards got COVID-19, so that's not happening yet. That's a crazy fight.
We were talking about this.
It's a crazy fight night. Wow.
All right. Spin. Love it.
And then we also, and so the other fights I wanted to talk about are the ones that are coming up next year.
What?
The fights that are scheduled and not scheduled. First of all, Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, January 23rd. We'll be live streaming the shit out of that. Come check that out. You also have rumored on that same card, January 23rd, Justin Gaethje versus the Bellator up-and-comer Michael Chandler.
That's what I thought was all there.
Will likely be for the lightweight title if that happens. But here's my issue with that. It's the same thing with Jones, whatever we were talking about.
I don't know this guy.
Michael Chandler, exactly. Well, that's a different beef. We've talked in depth about that.
Well, we'll get into that.
But listen to this. So the lightweight title goes through Justin Gaethje without Khabib, right? Justin Gaethje has to fight for the lightweight title. Yeah. So if Poirier McGregor, which is gonna be the main event, it's McGregor. He's gonna be the main event.
Yeah.
If they fight, and then the co-main event is Gaethje, Gaethje Chandler, is that the title fight, and that's the co-main event, and then in the same division, we have a different fight for the main event. That looks bad. You know what I mean?
Does it look bad? Because I'm thinking from a fan point of view right now, and I'm like, wow, that builds up that division.
I think it does, but I think that they could have done it differently. They could have Poirier McGregor fight, and they could do Gaethje Chandler in the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, but that builds up to the next. No, I see where you're coming from, because they could definitely make both those fights headliners. But if you're looking long term and you want to, because this fight, the pay-per-view is going to be huge.
It's going to be so huge.
No matter what, because Conor's on it.
Right.
Now, why don't you do both? Get Conor's fan base watching this fight, because more people are going to be watching. I think it should be on the same card.
It's a good point. It's a great point.
Yeah.
And here's another thing to talk about.
It builds up that next pay-per-view. Because
obviously,
that fight's going to happen.
So obviously, if that were to happen, then whoever wins the championships is the champion, and whoever wins Poirier McGregor is the number one contender. Then what do you do with Tony, the winner of Tony Oliveira? They fight the loser of the championship fight, and then what do you do with Poirier when he loses to McGregor? You know, that division, they jumped too soon to get all these fights.
Tony should leave the UFC.
I don't think Tony should leave the UFC. I think Tony should get a number one contender fight after he beats Oliveira.
He's not going to, because that's Gaethje that just whooped his fucking ass. That's what I mean. He's in the shitter, dude. He's in the gutter.
Right.
As usual. He's in the gutter.
At the same time, that's the first fight Tony's lost in like 10 years.
Yeah.
So Tony deserves another shot.
Dana White wants him to lose so bad.
I don't think he does.
He does.
There's a lot of Tony fans. There's a lot of Tony fans.
He wants him to lose
Tony's
so
weird,
fucking bad.
He is, and it's great.
If he loses, I think that gives him more value if he loses. Not gonna lie, because he could fight the entire division now instead of just going for the title fight.
But that he wants to get the title fight.
I know, obviously every fighter does, but if you look at it, if he loses, it opens up his fucking career. Like, it really does.
I think there's a couple.
You could fight anybody.
There's a couple other aspects to look at this. First of all, so Gaethje Chandler. If Chandler loses, which he probably would, what do you do with Chandler at that point? Because you tried to put him top 5 and you just lost. So then do you give him a Tony Ferguson?
Maybe he moves down.
Yeah, could give him Ferguson.
If you give him to Tony Ferguson, then what? Tony's probably going to fuck him up too. And then what do you do with Michael
Tony's going to be itching by then.
Tony. It all depends.
This fight that Tony has is huge. If Tony wants to remain known, he needs to beat Charles Oliveira.
No, he doesn't. Yeah. No, he doesn't. Because he could easily fight Poirier after Conor McGregor beats him.
He could, but he would do it from the number 7th ranking. It's fine.
No, he would probably be 7th and try and move up again.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, he would be number 7.
He was 7 and he'd be Poirier.
Well, Poirier's 6, so what are you going to move up one spot?
The point I'm trying to say is, like, Khabib left, and you have so much opportunities for the lightweight division, especially now that Conor's coming back.
And you have so much more.
And it looks like they're just trying to make big fights. And what they should do is try to remain consistent with rankings, and they should try to put out the right fights so that you can make more opportunity to make more fights out of it. Say you get these 3 fights out of the way, and then you do another 2 fights for the next championship contender, whatever, and then you have like 3 of those fighters that are now around 10 of the division. Then you just wasted 2 fighters or 3 fighters or something. You should be able to get a good like 8, 9 fights over the next 2 years out of those like 4 guys.
You could get like 9 fights out of 3 fights. Seriously.
I know
that's what you're saying. You could.
Right. Yeah. So that's why I think, first of all, Michael Chandler should not fight Gaethje. 1, because he doesn't deserve it. But 2, because if he loses, he looks terrible, and you don't want that for a guy you're trying to make top 5.
You fight Oliveira.
And if Gaethje loses, then you're like, oh, well, what the fuck are you doing in this division? He was just a title holder. If McGregor loses, it's fucking lost. Besides trying to build up Poirier.
McGregor loses?
No, because he could fight Tony.
Lost. Man.
No,
if McGregor
loses.
I don't know. I'm not seeing it as a big of a loss, dude. I don't think if anybody loses or wins, honestly, I think the division stays the same because you could create fights out of the people that are losing those 3 fights. So you're automatically getting 9 fights.
But if you make 9 fights out of all these fighters, that means that some people are going to lose 2 or 3 in a row.
No,
and
I get your
don't
point.
Want that, especially from a guy like Michael Chandler or a guy Tony. You could do it. You don't want McGregor to lose 2 in a row.
No,
that's worst case scenario.
That one.
Yeah, and Gaethje's already said he wants like 3 more fights and then he's out.
Yeah. Why limit to 9 fights? They could make
9 was a random number. I don't think they get 9 fights out of this. I think they get 5 fights out of this.
Well, you got to think 3 fights.
Yeah, 6. 3 fights already scheduled, and then they haven't been scheduled. But Gaethje Chandler's probably getting scheduled.
Those 3 can fight again. That's 6. And then what happens? Then you can take the people that lose the next 3 fights, and you can mismatch them again.
No, I understand. That would be the logical next step.
Yeah.
And then after you say that, besides the problems that already involves, what do you do with fucking Dan Hooker, who's number 5 in the lightweight division anyway? You know, he's not getting.
Honestly, you can fight Chandler or Oliveira.
You can fight Ferguson if Ferguson stays.
If Ferguson beats Oliveira, he wants either Gaethje, McGregor, or the title, and that's all he's fighting for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If he loses,
and UFC wants to keep him on, which I think they should, I think that's the best case scenario for Tony.
Hooker or Chandler.
Not the best case scenario for Tony, but the best case scenario for Tony fans because they get to see him do other shit.
Yeah. Well, you're a Tony fan.
I'm not exactly a Tony fan. I appreciate that he's a great fighter, but like in that division, I would say I'm more of a Gaethje fan.
I respect the shit out of him. I just think if he wins or loses, he still has a lot of options. More options than just like another top 5 guy losing. Because he could literally fight anybody. He could fight someone top 10. He could fight someone top 5 if he loses. He could fight an up-and-comer.
I can see this happening. I can see Ferguson beating Oliveira. You never know, right? Until you know. You never know the up-and-comer.
Kamaev said he'd move down.
Fuck that, dude. He fights at 185. He's not moving to 185.
He said he would.
He won't.
He said he would.
If Ferguson wins, say McGregor beats Poirier, Gaethje Chandler scheduled for that same card. Gaethje beats Chandler. Ferguson wins this weekend. I think the next fight to make is Gaethje Ferguson for the title, and then make Conor wait because Conor doesn't want to fight in 6 months after his fight anyway. So I think that's the fight to make, and then McGregor gets the winner of that.
Conor could go back. Well, there's been talks. There's been rumors of him going back to boxing.
But if he beats Poirier in a main event of a card that has the title, first of all, he's going to be talking so much shit. And then he's going to, like, if he wants to fight again, he's fighting for the title. So he totally could because he would get another payday for it.
Yeah.
I think a matchup with Justin Gaethje would really intrigue Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
I think Conor would be
more than a Chandler.
More than Chandler or Ferguson.
More than Chandler, more than Ferguson, more than Oliveira, more than Poirier, and more than Dan Hooker.
Yeah.
So, like, the only fight you can make is
Gaethje,
Conor.
If Conor beats Poirier. If Poirier beats McGregor, then I think Poirier deserves the next shot. I think that Conor would be more susceptible to waiting 6 months than Poirier would.
Poirier doesn't. If Poirier wins and Ferguson also wins, it's like, who's been waiting long?
Who the fuck deserves it?
They fight for it.
I think that Poirier
has already beaten Gaethje. Ferguson lost to Gaethje.
Yeah, but didn't Gaethje beat Poirier? Aren't they 1-1? Or is Poirier just 1-0?
Poirier beat Gaethje.
Right? I'm pretty sure. I think you might be right.
The
lightweight division has so many opportunities, and I'm just worried that they're going to fuck it up.
Too many. Yeah.
And
there's so many ways they could fuck it up. There's not a lot they could get it right.
That what they should do is just tell Michael Chandler to go fight number 10. You know what I mean? And then if Oliveira loses, have to fight Oliveira. If he beats Oliveira, now you're top 5. Now you get to play with the big boys. Michael Chandler jumped so quickly into the top 5, it was not fair.
Who the fuck is Michael Chandler? We wouldn't be talking about this guy if he wasn't fighting Tony. That's what you know what I mean? Who is?
Oliveira.
Dude, I keep getting them confused. Damn it. I gotta get on that.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. It's so many. There's so many diagonals and loops around,
and then as soon as this lightweight division is settled, and we have these two guys both went to, and now they're gonna fight.
It could be 2 years.
Then Khabib's coming back, and he's gonna say, "Fuck all this, I'm gonna fight."
It could be. Yeah, but how long do you think the light? It could be a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. From the point, all right. So say this is all hypothetical. Say Gaethje,
could be 3, 4.
Ferguson, and McGregor wins, and then we see Gaethje, Ferguson, and Gaethje wins, and then we see Gaethje, McGregor.
Yeah, but McGregor's gonna face somebody to get that fight if he lost.
I think if McGregor beats Poirier, he's number 1.
No, if he loses to Poirier.
Oh yeah. But in this hypothetical, I said McGregor won.
Oh, he won. Okay.
Yeah. And then that, to get to Gaethje McGregor, that's like a year and a half. I think at least a year. If Conor wins in January and gets paid, I don't think he wants to fight until at least fall, September, something like that.
Yeah. I just don't. It's like the couple of fights in UFC history where if you lose, you still have a matchup and a decent matchup,
and that hurts the lightweight division. Not hurts it, but it hurts. I don't think it hurts the 25-year-olds.
This is where we defer.
Just thinking.
I don't think it hurts
because there's not many contenders to mix it up even more.
There's too many. There's too many contenders right now. Is the problem? Well, there's no chance.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but
we say that, but we don't know the lightweight top 15 rankings. We don't know the guy who's 12th, who's actually 9-0 and looks really good, who doesn't get a shot for 2 years because these guys are trying to figure out what the fuck they're doing.
Rankings don't mean shit.
They do mean shit to an up-and-comer.
Yeah, to an up-and-comer.
To a 24-year-old who's 11-0, who's trying to make it to the championship by the time he's 27.
I'm not talking about. I'm just talking about rankings in general. Okay. Rankings don't matter. They don't.
I think they do.
You just said they don't.
No,
just because you're fighting.
I said to an up and comer they do, but to a
they also
to a guy,
matter to people who are already.
Well, I think a top 10 guy could fight the number 1 guy and have a chance.
Let's say you're given.
I think you could have a chance, but I don't think he would be given a fight.
No, he wouldn't. But he has a chance.
Let's say you're given a few contracts, number 3 or number 4, and you think number 3 is the easier fight, plain and simple. It's easier.
Right.
Then rankings don't fucking matter.
Right.
Like, that's the easier.
They don't matter in the lightweight division right now at all. At all, they don't matter because we don't even know what we don't even know what it is.
I think maybe you mean that the rankings don't matter in the top 5 of the lightweight division.
Yeah, but how does the top 10? If you don't have a top 5? How do you have anything?
Well, like number 5 could face number 1 because the top 5 is so stacked, right? That's kind of what you're saying. But number 6 can't fight number 1 because the top 5 are stacked and they have to fight number 1 first.
I think it's 2 total. There's 2 total. It's 6 and 10. And 1 and 5.
Right. It's 2 completely separate divisions, and I think that hurts.
And none of them.
I think it makes for great fights, but I think it hurts the division.
The 1 to 5 don't matter, and the 6 to 10 don't matter. It's literally the 5 and 6. It's literally it. I don't see how. I don't know. I don't see how they matter, and I don't see how
the rankings are always going to matter based on championship fights.
100%.
Last week we saw an outlier where we saw 4 versus 13, and 13 ended up winning. And my point that I'll make with that
6-day notice.
And my point that I'll make with that is that unless it's short notice, in the lightweight division, you will not see anybody in the top 5 fight the number 13 ranked contender for at least a year.
Never,
and that hurts the division.
Yeah, but that's how Dana White wants to make it.
Right, and I can see why he would because he wants to make the big fights. But for that number 13. Who's good enough to fight the top 5, and he's not going to get a shot in 2 years, that sucks. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't suck. He's got to work his way up like the top 5 did.
Right, but all right. So say you're 13 now.
Fight at a time.
Right, say you're 13.
That's how it definitely takes time.
Whereas in the middleweight, the number 13th guy just shot up to the top 5. In lightweight, number 13 might have to fight 3 fights to get in the top 5 and beat a top 5 guy.
And look at Tony.
Tony lost to the number 1 contender.
Hasn't even got a title shot, bro.
Tony worked his ass off to get up there. He won the Ultimate Fighter.
0 title shots.
Yeah. No, well, he had an interim title shot. He lost.
An interim title? What did Gaethje do when he was on the creek? I don't want that shit. Fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he did.
it's an interim belt. Like, get us fuck. Yeah, I really.
Tony, that's a different circumstance, though. Because for 2 years he was trying to fight Khabib and it just didn't work out.
No,
that wasn't because he was too low ranked. That was because because COVID happened and Khabib got hurt, and then Tony had to pull out of the fight and different shit like that. That was because the rankings were fucked up.
So it's really not on Dana White. If you think about
it's not on. No, it's. I wouldn't say it's on Dana White at all because Dana White's primary responsibility is to make big fights, and you don't make big fights with a guy who's in the top 5 and a guy who's not in the top 5.
But you think that hurts the division?
I do. Maybe that's worded wrong. I think it hurts the other guys in the division.
Because it doesn't hurt the division. If anything, it helps the division because you're taking a guy that basically a nobody that no one knows, fighting the top 5 guy,
right,
beats him. Well,
then you're just making another star. And I would argue that moving forward is the best way to make a division interesting. Constantly introducing stars. And you can't constantly introduce stars if all the big guys are fighting each other.
That won't happen.
What?
You can't make stars.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But I think less stars will be made in the lightweight division if top 5s only fight each other.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Yeah. And I think that hurts the division. Because in 3 years, when all these guys are older, then there's all the good up-and-comers have now lost their prime. Now they might not be as good. And then you might have that 2-year low period.
The guys they're not fighting have lost their prime. Now that has lost its.
It's all about perspective. Appeal. It's all about perspective and how you look at the division because, like, I think all 5 could lose, right? All top 5 guys could lose, and the division's fucking insane. That's how I look at it. Like, I think that division just opens up so much more.
But if all five,
just 2 people losing.
If the top 5 guys all fight, then they can't all lose.
What Dana White is hoping, if he needs Chandler and Oliveira, he needs one of those guys to win. Because that's your top 13, top 5 fight, and that's what he's doing.
I think Chandler winning would be best for the UFC either way. And it sucks to say because he's going to fight Gaethje, and I first of all I think Gaethje's going to win, but I also want him to win.
Yeah, I want him to win too.
If Chandler loses, then he's going to get a no-name. He's going to get the number 13 guy.
So he's actually trying to do what you're saying right now, but it's like
he rushed it. He rushed the shit out of it for no reason.
So he's doing what you're saying right now. I just noticed that in my head.
Michael Chandler,
I'm sure. Is Michael Chandler?
He was champion in another division. The reason he signed Michael Chandler was in case Gaethje or Khabib got COVID. Because this pay-per-view was going to be so huge, he needed a backup. Michael Chandler was going to be the backup. First of all, that pissed off Tony. That really pissed off Tony. Second of all, it's the first time it's ever happened. It's the first time a guy's first fight was potentially for a title. And that would have been bad for business.
It's a lot of hype for that one guy.
Thank God it didn't. But now that he's trying to put him up against the number 1 contender, that's like, have you not heard that people hate this idea? Are you not paying attention to fans? And then it goes into like, what kind of contract did he sign to get Chandler in? Like, did he say Chandler has to be a top 5 fight?
You hate it?
Do I hate what? That Chandler's getting a top 5 fight?
You really hate it though? Yes. Because it gets...
No, I hate it.
It gets people talking.
It gets people talking, but
it definitely should have been a top 5.
No, it should have been. No,
I think Michael Chandler should have debuted at like number 8. And fought if he could fight number 5, he could fight Dan Hooker. That would be a great fight.
That would be a great fight.
It would be amazing.
That would be a great fight because you could take fucking Dan
Hooker. You could take who is Dan Hooker?
Dan Hooker just lost to Dustin Poirier a couple months ago.
No, but then he beats Michael Chandler, and now he has a name.
Now he has a name, and Michael Chandler has a name too, kind of bit. Right. You know what I mean? Because he's had a little bit.
And then if he has to work his way up like he should have. And then if he does that, if he then wins 3 fights in a row, then you're like, okay.
Dana White hit us up, dude. Like, we know what we're doing.
We got the lightweight division. You worry about the others, we got the lightweight.
We could just have a podcast on just the lightweight division because it's so insane. It's too crazy. And then we're gonna have Sean O'Malley's gonna move up. There's gonna be
if Sean O'Malley moves up, he would go. No, he would go lightweight. He would go lightweight. I don't think he will.
Him?
No, 3 years.
No, he's not ranked. No, Sean O'Malley's not ranked. He's not even ranked in bantamweight. He's not going to be ranked.
He would be ranked if he won that last fight.
When's the last time somebody who's not ranked was as famous as him?
Someone who's not ranked?
Kamaev.
I think he's more.
I think we're seeing a very similar rise that we saw from Sean O'Malley and Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev just did a little quicker because he had 2 fights in 10 days.
Yeah, but Khamzat isn't like chilling with Snoop Dogg and smoking weed every day, getting the kids involved, you know?
Yeah, because he's more of a personality than Chimaev. So is that what you mean? Like,
he knows English.
Like famous? You don't mean just you. That's a great point. That is a great point, actually.
I was just saying famous.
Okay, famous. Someone who got as quickly famous as Sean O'Malley.
He's not even ranked.
Masvidal.
Dude, Masvidal is up there, but Masvidal was in the UFC for a while.
No, that's what I mean.
He did something huge. Shit.
Yeah.
That propelled his name.
Right.
I don't know, kind of did he knocked out that fucking dude, bro.
He did have that knockout. That's when he really got
knocked the dude out with a straight right hand and just walked away. And was like, okay.
But dude was on Contender Series. And was like a big name then from the up and comers. You know what I mean? So that's a great question. Sean O'Malley has had one of the quickest rise to fame, not just UFC ranks. He did. No. Oh, he did. He did. That's right. But it was a bad sample. And then after that, in his first fight, he got his leg fucked up and still won. That was some gangster shit.
His leg fucked up again and lost.
That's what I mean. Like, is he all hype or is he really
a different leg though?
He should just
remember that when he was laying on the ground and they announced that as he won.
I love you, Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I fucking love you too, bud. Yeah.
They say that he would be better off if he broke his foot rather than what happened to him because it fucked up all his ligaments.
You know who had, this is a bad example, but someone else who was very quick to rise to fame as soon as he hit the UFC? Adesanya. Adesanya within 4 fights was famous.
Kickboxer.
Right. But he's not only that, he's a personality. You know? And that's what separates O'Malley from Chimaev. At least in American viewers' eyes, we'll make an understanding.
Also has 77 wins.
Right, but that doesn't mean shit once you get to the UFC.
Yeah, I know.
It means something, but it doesn't mean shit.
That's a lot of wins.
It is.
77.
All right, what else you guys got? Oh, Masvidal, Colby Covington scheduled for February.
We haven't even talked about who's going to win on the next card.
UFC 56?
No. Oh, the 19th fight night. Always said it was Aldo.
So I got Aldo. I got Moraes over Fon. I got Greg Hardy over Tabura.
That's the fight.
That's a big fight.
That's a big fight.
Honestly, Tabura could win. Tabura could. But
Tabura's on the rise, right?
No, Greg
Hardy's on the rise. He's 7-0. He used to be a defensive tackle for the
Cowboys. Oh, Greg Hardy.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Defensive end.
Yeah, no, that's a defensive end.
Beat Rosenstruck or Lewis?
He beat Jorgen De Castro, who's the security guard from Fall River. Yeah.
He also just beat a guy.
Yeah, he knocked someone out in the second round a couple weeks ago.
Didn't he beat Rosenstruck?
No. He's not ranked. Rosenstruck's like 4 in that heavyweight division right now.
He's up and coming.
He just beat JDS Rosenstruck.
This is his first test. It's
not his first test, but it's his best test.
That's
how kind of everybody is when they're undefeated. Like, oh, this is his first test. Oh, this is his first. Oh, this one is his first test. You know what I mean?
It's the heavyweight division, dude.
I think Tabura is ranked. You know, so this is his first ranked opponent. So that's definitely a step up. Yeah. I also have Jeff Neal over Wonderboy Thompson.
Yeah, I hate Wonderboy.
I don't hate him, but Wonderboy's just old as fuck now. Well, Wonderboy's 38.
Is he?
Yeah. Jeff Neal's 32.
I think Jeff Neal.
He still is. Stephen Thompson's one of the best strikers in that division, but I think he's old, and I think Jeff Neal is on the rise, and I think
he's in the perfect age.
I also think Marlon Moraes is much better of an athlete than Rob Font. Rob Font's a great striker, but Moraes is
coming off a double loss, correct?
Yes. Well, he lost to Sandhagen. Did he?
John.
Yeah. So Moraes is on the down and out, and Rob Font's on the up. But Moraes is still a top 10 in that division. He still is.
I don't even know. I don't know both of those fighters, so I don't even know. I don't know.
Who's Cub Swanson fighting?
Is he fighting in this pay-per-view? You said prelims, I'm assuming. Yeah. Cub Swanson is fighting Daniel Pineda. Renato Moicano is fighting Rafael Fiziev.
Pineda. I know Pineda.
Mackenzie Dern's fighting Vernon. Another woman. Can't pronounce that for the life of me. Jandiroba. Yeah. Yeah, she's 61. What else we got for the early prelims? Chase Hooper's fighting.
Chase Hooper's also fighting.
Hooper's fighting.
I don't know who that is.
Chase Hooper is the youngest fighter ever to win a fight in the Contender Series. He was 18 years old in like 47 days. Some shit like that.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
He has an afro just like O'Malley did. And he's the youngest fighter in the UFC, I believe. He's like 20 years old. So
he also does stuff in the UFC. He's like a fucking interviews.
Yeah, he does?
Yeah,
like Paul Felder? No. Not commentate, but he's an analyst as well as a fighter kind of.
I don't think it's
like Cormier or Paul Felder.
It's like, weigh-in to like
Right. Well, I mean, like he's part of the business besides just fighting.
Yeah. Paul Felder was pissed when he was commenting. He was talking about his fight.
Dude,
super salty.
Last week he was so salty because they had one fight where it was
Cruz does that too. Dominic Cruz does.
He definitely does that. But Paul Felder was like, there was one.
Like, do your job. Don't fucking sulk.
There was one fight where it was clearly a 30-27, and one judge had a 29-28, and Paul Felder was like, "Wow, he scored it wrong. I can't believe it. Oh, same judge for my fight. I can't believe it wasn't a split decision." Like shit like that. It was so funny.
He was pissed, dude.
He was.
Even though he fucking lost.
He lost to Dos Anjos.
It was not even close. Yeah. He had his ass whooped. But he
oh no!
Technical difficulties. What are you doing?
I'm fucking around.
Off screen.
Oh my god.
Thank you.
$1 million camera. So what do you guys got, Colby or Jorge? Colby or Jorge?
Hear me?
Yeah. Who you got, Colby or Jorge?
Colby.
You?
I have Colby all day. All day and night.
Colby all day.
And twice on Sundays.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
I think that Jorge...
Make sure it's working. That would have sucked.
Right, I only check an hour and a half in.
You mind?
I think that Jorge does well. I think
Who are we talking about again?
Jorge Colby.
Okay.
I think the first round, it's mostly stand-up. Colby takes him down. Jorge does great on his back. Second round, Colby takes him down for most of the round.
He does great on
Jorge
his back.
does back up good on his back.
Third round is when it gets interesting.
Third round, I think, is stand-up more, and I think Jorge might win the third round. Kind of like what
Really?
we saw Hermanson versus Vettori. And then I think fourth, fifth round, Colby takes over.
I think Jorge comes in swinging first, second round.
By the way, in each of Colby's last 3 fights that were not against Kamaru Usman, he's outstruck his opponent 2-1. Like doubled his opponent's strikes. You know what I mean?
Go for that Nate Diaz effect.
Well, because he takes people down and grounds and pounds them the whole time. Against Woodley, it wasn't even fair. It was like 180 to like 60.
Tyron Woodley, yeah, but even Dana White said he needs to fucking get out of Dodge, dude. Like,
Dana White has
so bad.
Dana White has hated Tyron Woodley since the moment he became champion. He hated him because Tyron Woodley might have the award for most boring UFC fighter ever.
Yeah.
And when he was champ, everybody said that about him. When he fought Wonderboy Thompson the first time, everybody was like, "Yeah, they drew, but let's just give it to Thompson. We don't want to see Woodley anymore."
Yeah.
And then Woodley beat Thompson the second time. They're like, "Oh, come on!" Literally, people hated the fact that Woodley retained his title.
Yeah, I could see that.
But he's a wrestler. And wrestling is boring to a lot of casual MMA fans. So I understand it. Now that he's older, he's definitely lost a couple steps. But, like, he's still a former champ. He's still a great wrestler. And I'm sure if he fought someone who's not in the top 5, he'd beat him.
That has to be a main event. That has to be a main event fight. That has to be
Masvidal Covington?
Could be.
I don't see why.
I think
it's weird. It's weird because I think 5 rounds, and then I'm like, fuck, it's only 3 rounds.
I'm going to pull this out of my head right now. I think Covington, Masvidal is co-main event.
To
That's January 23rd. It's not happening in January. I think it's Adesanya Blackwood. Adesanya Blackwood main event, Covington Masvidal co-main event. Go from there in the pay-per-view. That sells. That fucking sells.
Yeah. I would
or Mia Chichinghana too.
I would like to see girls on the co-main event just to get their name out more.
Sure.
But I know you can't do that.
But then again, who you got for that fight? You know, like you have Nunes. Her name is
No, I'm not saying Nunes.
Wiley Zhang, Young Jacek too.
Did
you see that first one? Have you ever seen the picture of the woman in the UFC where she has the fucking thing on her? That is Wiley Zhang versus Joanna Young Jacek. Joanna Young Jacek is the woman pictured that has the thing.
How about fucking Thug Rose?
Well, Thug Rose is supposed to fight Young Jacek next. That's right.
Yeah, no. Give her Wiley.
Well, Young Jacek is the number 1 contender, and Rose is 2.
But Young Jacek just lost.
It's a good point. But it was the best woman fight of all time. If you guys want to watch a great women's fight, that is the fight to watch. It was 5 rounds, split decision, and it was a bloodbath. Standing up for like 4 of the 5 rounds, and they were kicking the shit out of each other. Great fight.
Yeah, there was a Chinese lady that just fought. I'm pretty sure that was.
Yeah, Yi Xiaonan.
I don't know what the fuck
her name
is.
It was Xiaonan. I remember watching that.
I have no idea what her name is, but she looked good, and she's up and coming too. So.
And she's a strawweight fighter, meaning she could challenge the other Chinese fighter in the UFC, Wiley Zhang.
Yeah, it's definitely
2021 is going to be a year, and we're going to end it off on a bang this Saturday when we live stream UFC 256.
Yeah, what are we getting? Pizza?
Yeah, pizza, wings, whatever. Down.
Should we?
Just get Chinese.
Maybe we should get like some wings and like put them on the grill or something.
Oh, I did make burgers for the last one. That was right.
No, those were mad good. Definitely wings, definitely beer, definitely can't put any deeds on anybody because casinos fucking closed.
Oh. I already got mine in for this card though.
This is the cash it.
No, I know, but if I win, I can cash one though. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you still got this card from 6 months ago.
All right, and talks about 6 months, bro.
Who knows?
I already got a card that I have won.
Really?
Yeah, because I was supposed to have Blades Lewis fight, and it was the last one on it, but that got pushed back, so I just had to push. Or I have.
Oh yeah.
So it's like
$7.
70. So that is going to be all. I'm talking numbers, and I shouldn't be. So we will catch you guys Saturday night, starting 8 p.m. all the way to 1 p.m. when we live stream UFC 256. Please come check us out. We appreciate all the support we can get.
If you own a company out there and you want to promote us,
yeah, email me, zakdrapeau@gmail.com.
Yeah, we got to set up an email for this.
Right.
And a Twitter.
Everything's coming. 2021, we can't wait. Yeah. Big moves to be made.
Graduating college.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we are out of here.
Later.